As you probably know, around 3 months ago, we moved to Poland. But in reality, it's been just my wife and my son who have been living there permanently. I have been commuting back and forth between South Africa, where I work, and Warsaw. And from the moment that we made Poland our official residence, and now, I had only lived there 6 days. But that all changed this past month. I spent 30 days in Poland, living there as a full-time resident. And on this episode, I want to tell you some good things that I found out and discovered, and some bad things. Boom! Boom! Cześć ludzie! What's up people? Hola! VIGO'S dad here. Welcome to another episode. No, jestem w RPA teraz i moja rodzina jesteśmy trochę smutny, ale wszystko będzie dobrze. Karola i Vigo będzie leci do RPA jeden pół tydzień. Miesiąc. Mówimy po angielsku teraz, proszę. Okay, I got carried away there. You know, 1 month in Poland, I already feel like I can speak a little bit better Polish, huh? But anyways, guys, yes, like I said, I finally managed to live in Poland because I've told you guys often on this channel that even though we have never called Poland our residence, we have visited so often that to me it felt as if I was, living there. But realistically speaking, from a logistical standpoint, that is not true, right? But of course, every time I was in Poland, I was not only chillaxing and holidaying. We have had to do our fair share of errands and go to Urząd and deal with administrative things that kind of make you feel like, okay, I more or less can see how things are here. But this time around, there is just no way around it. Poland is our home, is our only residency. Well, I mean, I also live in South Africa, but it's complicated, you know what I mean. So I was very eager to start living my new Polish life and see what challenges am I gonna encounter, not only from a language standpoint, which we know it's not so easy, and because of all these daily activities, I was able to kind of like put a finger on the pulse of the country. My son goes to przedszkole, we were going to different places to have fun, but also to restaurants. We also ran a lot of errands, we went on holidays. Those interactions have led me to some conclusions, and I made a small list of things that I found really good, and I made a small list of things that I found that were not so good. So, because I consider myself an optimist and a happy person, let's start with something good, okay? The first thing that I noticed was how much happier Polish people are. And I want to say this with the utmost respect. I know that these are not particularly easy times. The neighbor country is going through probably one of the worst times in its history, in the middle of a war. The continent is also not in the best place. The world itself, there are so many things happening. Now, I just cannot help to have noticed that. Polish people seem happier. Probably has something to do with the weather. We're in the middle of the summer, a lot of sun. People were out enjoying, eating ice cream or out in the parks. If I went to a shop or to a restaurant, the way people just carry themselves, even their expressions in their face, it was a lot happier, a lot more welcoming, a lot more pleasant. Now, let's talk about some not so good things. Reckless driving. Seriously, masakra. Co to było? I have driven in Poland many a times, believe me. I'm used to Polish traffic, and come on, let's face it, I'm Dominican. I don't think Polish people drive worse than Dominicans. I'm aware, and I'm actually pretty well equipped to drive under those conditions, okay? But this was something different. Polish people, for the most part, respect the rules, for the most part. And what do I mean with this? Well, they drive on their lanes. If there's a light, they stop on the light. They usually don't run the red light. Like pretty civilized, if you will. Now, there is like this violent feeling among so many drivers in Poland, and I was a little bit like, whoa, bro. Like, you're here on your lane, you're driving, everything's going fine, and then from this side, there's a person that comes and very quickly goes like, the way they do it is very violent. They get impatient. If you're on the highway, right there, you see Mr. BMW or Audi dude, literally driving 200 kilometers per hour. He looks on my rear view mirror like he's gonna crash onto my ass, and he's riding my ass. We are going, could even be 130 kilometers per hour, and this guy is just here behind me, that if I sneeze and, you know, by chance I step on the brake even a little bit, he is going to literally destroy himself and me. Yet they don't care. They're just gonna keep going as fast as possible and pressuring you until you get out of the way. Also, there's like this fair bit of yelling and signaling and hand gesturing. People get upset over what seems to be nothing. So yeah, I guess that fiery Slavic blood comes out in the driving also. But I noticed that the driving is a little bit too reckless. And I am telling you this as a Latino, as a Dominican. We are not respectful of the driving laws, and I still found that it was a little bit too much reckless driving for my comfortable liking. Number 3, options. Wow, options. If we're gonna talk about a country in Europe that feels globalized, that is open to the markets, that you can go and you can find practically almost anything you want, then man, this country is the place. Now, yeah, I'm gonna have a disclaimer here. If you're in some, village deep in the woods of some small town in Poland, well, of course, you're maybe not gonna find your Pepsi Max, no caffeine, lemon flavor. But still, for the most part, in Warsaw, we went to Trójmiasto, of course we've been to Łódź, we've been to, many places, and man, the options. You wanna buy cosmetics? Go to Poland. You wanna buy some sort of snack that you saw in some commercial in the United States or in England, there's a very high chance that you're gonna find that also in Poland. We went on holidays to Trójmiasto, to Gdańsk, Gdynia, and Sopot, and the hotel was a top-notch hotel. They had all the amenities, but also in the city, if you went into a shop, you could buy with contactless on the phone, Apple Pay. I don't know, maybe to you guys, this is like, oh yeah, come on dude, it's like, this is obvious, hello. There are still countries where contactless payment is still not such a big thing. There are countries where still you need to be carrying cash. So when you live in a place where you do have those options and a wide array of things at your disposal, I'm not gonna say that you get a little jaded, but your reality becomes a little bit blurry. You think that everywhere in the world is like that, and it's not. For example, we went to a outlet mall in Warsaw that has like designer clothes. All the designers were there, good quality clothes, and the outlet did look like so taken care of, so pristine. You go to the doctor, for example, and just the automized system of how everything works, and it's just pretty developed. The other bad thing that I really did not like was a lack of cordiality. There's like a lack of kindness, if you will. Cordiality is this ability to want to do good to someone and help someone when they're in need, but also something as simple as standing up and handing someone your space, your chair, or just, on a queue, letting them go first because, you have 15 things and they only have 2. I had several encounters that were not so pleasant. They left a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth. For example, this one happened to my wife, Carolina. In Gdańsk, we went to the Czarna Perła, right? This ship that is very famous, looks like a historical ship. And she went up and there was this guy on a table. He was sitting with his wife and his daughter. It's only the 3 of them on a table that can sit 6. And my wife asked him if it was available, though a couple of seats were available, and he said something very rude, like, no, they're not. And my wife was like, wow, it's like, you know, he saw my wife alone, by the way, with my son, because I was all the way down, and he sees a woman with a small child on a ship that is about to take off. He has space on his table, and he very straight-faced told her that it was taken. Or on that same ship, there were other places they are occupied, and men were sitting down with their girlfriends or their wives, and several women came onto the ship with little babies, you know, kids on strollers, and none of those guys actually stood up to say, hey, come, have my seat, it's fine. And to me, that is extremely shocking. And we had several circumstances where I saw a lack of kindness. For example, I held the door to a lady at the hotel. You know, she was coming out with her kid. She was holding her kid here, and I held the door, and she just came out. She didn't even look at me. She didn't even say thank you. She didn't even smile. Nothing. That happened at least 3 times in different places where, you know, I was holding the door or something. Yeah, that was a little bit disappointing. I did see plenty of people that were kind, that held our door coming in, you know, with Vigo on the stroller. So yeah, take it as you will, but I did notice that, and it was something that I didn't like. And the other thing that I didn't like as much, and I'm gonna say 2 bad things back to back only because I wanna end the video on a positive note with something good, was health. I noticed a little change in the patterns of eating, of Poles, if you will. Like, we were at the hotel and we saw a lot of Polish people. They were not foreigners, they were Polish people, but also in different places. I took Vigo to many sala zabaw, you know, playgrounds, indoor playgrounds, and to parks outside. And although it is nothing compared to what you see in the US or in Latin America for that matter, I saw a lot more kids that were slightly more overweight than I was used to seeing. And that was not a thing before. I remember in Poland things being a little bit more healthy, I guess. But as I covered before, talking about globalized country and opening up to the world and all those snacks that you can find, well, I guess sadly, yeah, people are consuming food that is less healthy. And that's something that I think we should pay attention to. And I'm gonna say we because I'm a parent of a half Polish kid living in Poland. Hey, you know, I'm not a model. I struggle with weight and all that through my life, and Latinos are also well known for, sadly, feeding our kids junk stuff. But we have to pay attention. We have to make sure that we give our kids food that is rich in nutrients. Minimize the sugars, all that, you know, carbonated drinks, sugary drinks. Just food that doesn't really add anything. Potatoes, greens, fruit, owoce, all those things are super healthy, and Poland has so many of them. And the last thing that I noticed that I loved, and this is something I've been noticing, you know, throughout all the years that I've been visiting, but man, it just hits different when you are living there, when you call this your home, is how beautiful this country is. It's just astounding, it's breathtaking. I drove through many areas. It's just a beautiful country. It's clean, it's taken care of. Yes, Poland is a very clean country. I am not gonna mention other countries because it's not about comparison, but if you get around and you see, there are places that are beautiful, yet they're dirty, or no one really takes care of, you know, parks or the potholes or whatever. And you don't have that sensation in Poland. We went to Gdańsk, to Gdynia, to Sopot. Beautiful these cities are, the vibe, and they are kind of like part of this, you know, Trójmiasto thing, but they're different. They have their own vibe. Guys, if you are living in Poland, if you're Polish, you should feel very proud that you have a beautiful country, not only from the perspective of what nature provided the country itself, and not only from the perspective of history and the historical things that you guys have, but in general, how people seem to work together to try to preserve this place in the best shape it can be, and in the best way possible. Simple as that. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of the episode. I hope you liked it. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Hey man, I really loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed my time in Poland. I won't be back there until Christmas, sadly, but like I said at the intro, my family's coming to spend some good weeks here with me in South Africa. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Everyone that I met in Poland when I was there this past month, all the people from the channel, you guys that I met there at the meetup, and all the people that I'm gonna meet in the future. Thank you so much. You guys make this channel possible. Adios.